Hey witches, welcome to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy, a magical living podcast for the busy witch. I'm Morgan, eclectic witch of almost 25 years, Avalon priestess, and busy witch. Here we'll talk all things witchy, from current metaphysical happenings to my busy witch tips and tricks, and everything in the in-between. This podcast is my personal journey, filled with my knowledge, opinions, and unique way of looking at the world. Join me as I weave the magical and the mundane in every episode. Hey witches, welcome back to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy. I am Morgan, and today I am talking about witchcraft and mental health. Yes, this is a really hot topic right now, I think, and one that I am very happy to cover. I've been very open about my mental health journey throughout the years, and so I think with the state of everything going on right now, it's a really great time to tackle this and give you all some energetic helpers and some magical helpers for your mental health. Now, for those listening on any kind of podcast platform to the audio file of this, things are a little bit different today. I decided to go ahead and video record my podcast today because I do upload my podcast to YouTube just as like a static image with the audio file. And I said, you know what? I want to give it a try. I want to see what uploading a video podcast on YouTube would be like. So this is going to be uncut. It's going to be raw. There might be a few more ums in it. There might be some pauses while I figure out the perfect words, because as you know, I do have notes, but they're not, I don't read anything for my podcast. I just sit here and I go by my notes, make sure I cover main points, but you're getting me for the most part. I mean, like, this is just how I am. I do, though, in the editing process prior to this recording, I do edit out some ums and long pauses, and sometimes I will go off on extremely random tangents that don't even have anything to do with the subject at hand. So those are the things that I will be trying to minimize so that I don't have to edit things out. So I could just write the podcast, record it, put it up on YouTube, put it up on major podcast platforms, and be done with it. So if you are listening to the audio version of this, it might be a little bit different. It might not. But if you're on YouTube, or if you want to switch over to watching this on YouTube, you get to see me in action and see how much I use my fucking hands when I talk. Oh, and now when I go to say things like, I don't know, something, but I do like the quote unquote, I do little bunny ears. And I do that even when I was just talking into my microphone, but now it's being recorded. So that's fun. All right. I also want to let you all know I have a cricket in here with me somewhere in my office, in my little studio. He seemed to have shut up as soon as I started talking, but I mean, I'm not scared of crickets. I just wanted to let you all know, if you do hear like that screeching sound in the back, I have a cricket somewhere in the office. So anyway, let's jump right in. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about witchcraft and mental health, but more specifically, how you can use things like gemstones, herbs, different practices and things to help you with your mental health, like spells, components for healing, for self-care, for self-esteem, for confidence, for grounding your energy, etc. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be covering, and kind of the correlation between witchcraft and mental health, or how you can use witchcraft elements for your mental health. All right, so the first disclaimer here, which I'm sure there will probably be a few throughout this episode. I am not an expert. I am not a licensed psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not any of those things. So this episode today is going to be my story and my journey with mental health and its correlation into witchcraft, or how I used witchcraft to help me on my mental health journey. But this is my story. So definitely, if you feel like you are having any of these mental health things that I bring up, seek help. I am a huge advocate for therapy. I have been in and out of therapy since I was 18 years old. And whether or not I'm supposed to be proud of that, it has made me who I am today. And it has made me very self-aware, and it has made me be able to teach about it and be able to talk about my mental health past so openly so that maybe I can help others. Okay. So that's the first disclaimer. I do, just for those who are either new here, or if you don't want to go through all 120, let's see, this is episode 130. So if you don't want to go through the past 129 episodes to figure out this little piece of my mental health history and this little piece of my mental health history, I'll just recap it here for you really quickly. Okay. Okay. So I'm super open about this. So, all right, late in my teens, my anxiety started, but this was the late 90s. So they did not know what the hell anxiety was back then. I will go ahead and say that. So I was diagnosed with IBS, or irritable bowel syndrome, because every time I left my house, like would travel away from my house, I would essentially, I was having panic attacks. Okay. But they didn't know what panic attacks were back then. So they just generic IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. You have generic gastrointestinal issues when you travel, and it's only when you travel. I don't know. Anyway, it was anxiety. But I will say that I started in therapy when I was either 18 or 19. I actually had an actual nervous breakdown at work. I worked at Texas Steakhouse at the time as a waitress. I had a nervous breakdown in the middle of my shift, or towards the end of my shift. And I just needed a few days off. I was very stressed out. I was very overworked, and I just wanted a few days off. So when I called the next day to try and take a few days off, they said, no, you need a doctor's note. And me and my smart ass self was like, well, there's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing physically wrong with me. I just need a fucking break. So I was like, oh, a psychologist is a doctor, like technically. So I was like, I'll just go see a therapist real quick, be like, hey, I'm stressed out. Can you give me a doctor's note? And, here I am 20 years later, still in therapy. Not the same therapist, a different one. But yeah, so that was my attempt at being a little smart ass, like I'll get a doctor's note, and here we go. So I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder when I was 19 or 20. Let me see. I am checking my notes for those not on video. This is so weird too, I swear. Anyway, in 2009 to 2011, that is when I hit rock bottom in my life. I basically tried to ruin my life. I made really stupid fucking decisions. I felt lost. I felt like I didn't know who I was. And in my attempt to try and figure out who I was, my depression amped up horribly. That was probably the peak of my depression. It was just, I made really stupid life decisions. And thank God I was able to figure myself out and put my life back straight on the straight path. But that was around 2009 to 2011. My depression was at its peak. My anxiety amped up again in my 30s, so bad that I was borderline agoraphobic around 2017. So I would have been 36 at this time. Going to the grocery store caused a panic attack. The movie theater was the absolute worst. Yeah, I have had a panic attack in just about every movie theater bathroom here in Tucson. Yeah. And that's when it got to be its worst, was when I realized like I couldn't even go to the grocery store without having a panic attack. Costco was really bad. We didn't go to Costco for like almost a year. So that was the peak was around 2017. Well, that was when the peak started. Okay. So things came to a head in 2019 when I visited the emergency room, not for anxiety. It was for a female issue. And my husband had to take me to the hospital. And I was literally sitting in the emergency room in like a hospital gown, like they had admitted me, all this stuff. I was under observation, and I started to have a panic attack. And I was sitting there like, oh my God, what if I have a panic attack? What if I have what if this continues on? Like, what if I end up having a huge panic attack? And then this little voice in the back of my head, well, I guess that would have been me, told the little voice in the back of my head, so fucking what? And I sat there for a second, like, and this is the conversation I had in my head. Okay. I was like, you're in a fucking hospital already. You don't have to go to a hospital if you have a panic attack. You're already here. These people know how to handle it. So have a fucking panic attack, Morgan. Just fucking do it and get it over with. And that's literally what I told myself, like in the back of my head. And at that moment, I felt the anxiety melt away. And once I understood the energetics of anxiety and where it stems from, it made complete sense. Okay. And we're going to get to that, I promise you. So that was in 2019. That was when I said, fuck it, I'll have a panic attack. I don't care. I'll have a panic attack at Costco. I'll have a panic attack at the fucking grocery store. I'll have a panic attack at the movie theater. I don't fucking care anymore. That is the key to me overcoming my anxiety. That was the beginning of it. So yeah, that and me now, I'm good. I'm pretty good. Yeah. I mean, let me knock on wood. Hold on. We switched tables. This is all metal, you guys. My new table in here, I used to have wooden legs. That's metal too. Holy shit. Hold on. Okay. I'm hoping the microphone picked that up. I had to go all the way back to a bookshelf. Anyway, yeah, I've been doing pretty good. I still haven't, no, I have flown. I have flown since my anxiety's been on the way down. I still am not a fan of flying. But I would say flying causes the anxiety to amp up a little bit. Sometimes trips still, amp up the anxiety a little bit. And like the other day we went to see Longlegs, the movie in theaters. I love going to the movies now. But this was the first like true horror movie we had seen in the theaters in a very long time. Like true horror movie. I think the last one was like Scream 6 or 7 or 10 or wherever they're at. So yeah, I think I felt my anxiety trying to come up like, hey, this is going to be a scary movie. What if you're too scared? And that's when I literally sat there and was like, then I fucking closed my eyes, anxiety. And they were like, oh, fuck. All right, we'll just go back away. So that's what I talk to my anxiety now. Like when it does try to pop up, I just fucking talk to it. All right. So let's look at the energetics of common mental health issues, okay? And this is going to be the energy or the metaphysics behind it. And I will apologize now to the YouTube viewers. I'm not used to actually looking at, the camera when I'm recording. I look around the room and I talk and everything. So you're getting to see, for those of you watching on YouTube, you get to see the way that I am when I'm recording a podcast. I tend to look at the microphone too. So it's very weird. I'm having to remind myself that I'm actually recording and like, oh, swing attention back around. Anyway, and again, those of you listening podcast, you're like, what is she talking about? All right. So the energetics of mental health issues. I'm going to talk about anxiety and depression. We're also, though, in this podcast episode today, I'm going to give you some just general stress helpers, as well as talk for a second about if you are an empath. And then we're going to do moon phases for mental health issues if you want to cast a spell or do a ritual to help with your mental health. I've actually paired mental health issues with moon phases for you. And then at the end, we're going to go over some non-magical helpers because it's all connected. I promise. That's what I have found. So let me start out and say there, I have found out through my own journey that the body and the mind are 100% connected with spirituality. Okay. So you can end up having a spiritual issue that can manifest physically. You can end up having an emotional issue that will manifest spiritually. You can have a physical issue that will manifest emotionally and spiritually. Okay. So I am a firm believer that in order to treat a disorder or a dis-ease, you can attack it, or you should attack it from every angle possible. You should attack it from the physical aspect. You should attack it from mental, emotional, and spiritual, especially if you are a witch and you're here, like your spirituality is a big part of who you are. Okay. It will hurt nothing to look at a physical ailment from a mental standpoint, an emotional standpoint, or a spiritual standpoint. Okay. Now, it is when you ignore the physical, that's when you have issues. So if you are trying to attack something solely mentally or solely emotionally or solely spiritually, and you're not even taking into account the physical aspect of that issue, that's when you can have problems. Okay. But I believe that a lot of people just go the physical route when it comes to things like anxiety or even illnesses in the body. A lot of people just go the physical route. They don't go the mental route. They don't go the emotional route. They don't go the spiritual route. And so I don't think that it can be completely attacked or completely dealt with unless you deal with all aspects or the possibility of all aspects. So let's go there. Okay. The possibility of all aspects. Because I personally have found on my journey that my anxiety, of course, had emotional roots. It had physical roots, like my emotional and mental, the shit that was going on with me emotionally and mentally, of course, had physical reactions in my body. But when I went into the spiritual and the energetics of it, I understood it more. And so it wasn't until I started addressing the spiritual or the energetic aspect of anxiety and depression that I was able to finally start to deal with it effectively. When I only went the physical route, or when I only went the chemical, what's going on in my brain or therapy route, there was just something missing. There was like a piece of the puzzle missing for me. So that's what I've done my entire life. If I have a physical ailment, I will attack it first physically. And then if there's no answer, because let me tell you guys, I'm a medical anomaly on a couple of different fronts. I will have a physical issue that I will take to a doctor. And I have had more than one different doctor over the years tell me, that's impossible. And I'm like, well, here I am. Here's your impossible. I have had doctors start to go down a route with me and then be like, you shouldn't be this, but I think you are because you're showing this sign and this sign. You're not showing the most blatant one. But let's go down this route and test you for stuff. And then lo and behold, I was that thing. I was diagnosed with that, which they told me at first no doctor had ever done it because it was impossible that I would be diagnosed with that. So I'm a medical anomaly. And that is when I realized that if I have a physical something happening, I will take it to a doctor. If they can't find anything wrong, then I go to energy, I go to spirituality, I go to mental, emotional. I treat the whole body and the whole person. And that's what I do with everything from a headache, to my hormonal issues. I have finally been able to get under control. I don't have a doctor's appointment until next month to find out if I have done that, but I've had hormonal issues since I was 12 or 13 years old, and I feel like I finally have them under wraps. That has only been through a process of treating physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. So sorry, there's a tangent for you. Let's try to get back on track. Okay. So I'm going to be starting with anxiety. Okay. Anxiety, of course, the first thing you have to do is go to the doctor. And for anxiety, depression, anything, check your levels. Like they can tell you, okay, you have too much adrenaline in your system. You have too much of this, you have that, da, 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 da. And if you want to balance yourself chemically, then that would be through the use of medication. Okay. If you are, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let me go ahead and start with that. I will let you all know. I have never treated my anxiety or depression with meds except for twice in my life. One time they tried to put me on, it was an anger management med that they had started using for anxiety. But it was an anger management med, and that made me dizzy every single day for 11 days. And that's when I finally was like, I can't do this anymore, because to me, 11 days of dizziness was not worth whatever was supposed to be kicking in after that. And then I had been put on Klonopin for actual panic attacks in the past. And unfortunately, another side effect of being Morgan is I'm extremely sensitive to meds. So they gave me the lowest dose of Klonopin, and it knocked me out for an hour and a half on the couch at the tattoo shop I worked at. The guys at the tattoo shop took a video of me. They came over and like picked my arm up and dropped it. And they picked my leg up and dropped it. I have no recollection of any of this and did not believe them until they showed me the video. So that is what the lowest dose of Klonopin does to me. It turns into pretty much could have been a date rape drug for me. So I just have an extreme sensitivity to meds. So that's another reason why I chose to do everything naturally as possible, just because I never knew what a med was going to do to me. So anxiety, its root is in the solar plexus chakra. Okay, so that is your personal power center. It sits right above your stomach, right below, like right around your diaphragm area. So right below your lungs, above your stomach, above your belly button. That is your personal power center. That is where anxiety stems from. Okay. Especially if you have anxiety that is gut based. So you have a panic attack, but it comes out in diarrhea or constipation. Okay. If you have a gut based anxiety, then your solar plexus is definitely the root cause of that. Okay. And fear is held in the gut. So anxiety stems from fear. And this is that energetic connection that I had to make. Okay. If your anxiety is more of a panic attack and it sits higher in the lungs, the lungs are associated with your heart chakra. So that is going to be some type of emotional trauma that you need to get to the root of in order to deal with the panic attacks that are like lung and, like the typical ones you see in movies where people are hyperventilating, can't catch your breath. Those are held in the lungs, which is the heart chakra. Okay. Grief is also held in the lungs. So if there is something from your childhood or something now or something in your life at the moment that you are not dealing with that you need to grieve about, that can manifest as panic attacks in your lungs. Okay. So when I began looking at the energetics of my anxiety, and I really started to work with my solar plexus chakra, that's when things shifted for me. And it makes sense because if fear is held in your gut, okay, your stomachs, your intestine, all of that is fear, anger, and anxiety. So if I was so scared to have panic attacks, and that was always my trigger, is going out of the house. I felt unsafe, which is a root chakra issue. But I was always scared. Well, what if I have a panic attack while I'm out here? People will stare at me. What if I pass out? What if this? And so what ifs are fear-based. And it was then sitting in that ER that day that I was like, oh my God, what if I have a panic attack? What if I have a panic attack? That I said, fuck it, I'm here. I'm already at the hospital. They can fucking calm me down. Fuck it. I faced my fear. I looked that what if fear in the fucking face and I said, fucking go, let's do it. And it was like, oh, because the minute that you face a fear, you take away its power and you take your power back to you. And again, the solar plexus chakra is all about personal power. It's about you feeling like you do not have power or control over yourself or your life. All right. So that is the day that my anxiety started to lessen. I had faced that fear, and that is where fear, all of that is held in the gut, the lower intestines, the stomach, all of that. Okay. So energetic helpers for the solar plexus chakra, and these can help too if you have self-confidence issues, if you have self-esteem issues, if people take advantage of you and you just want to stand up for yourself, you want to work with the solar plexus chakra. Okay. And even if you're not a fan of the chakra systems, you have to understand that the body holds energy. And if the body is holding energy and you don't even want to call it a chakra, the body's holding that energy there. Your anxiety, your stress, your fear, all of that's being held in the gut. It's causing gut issues with you. This is energetically how you deal with that. Okay. The solar plexus is yellow in color. So wear the color yellow. Eat yellow foods. Technically, a banana is a white food, just so you know. So do like yellow peppers, squash, peaches. You can technically, I would work probably with the bottom 3 chakras. So your root, your sacral, and your solar plexus. And in that order, you've got red, orange, yellow. And your root chakra is at the base of your spine. Your sacral chakra is where your sex organs are. And then your solar plexus is the personal power. That's where we're talking about, in between the lungs and the belly button. So work with all of them. So red, orange, yellow. But the solar plexus, yellow herbs would include, yellow orange herbs would be calendula, chamomile, um, I'm trying to think of other ones I've used. I know that lemongrass lemongrass and peppermint are actually, they resonate with the solar plexus and the sacral chakra. So especially if you have stomach issues, peppermint tea is amazing. Ginger is another one that resonates with all of that. Yellow foods. So yeah, the peaches, squash, ginger again, anything like that. Gemstones. So I personally love citrine for this, but I've also used yellow calcite. Carnelian can be used. Any type of yellow gemstone, brown if you need some grounding energy too. And then if you are feeling ungrounded, like you're not feeling safe, okay, that's the root chakra. So if you just don't feel safe in the world, safe in your life, safe in your body, whatever, that's the root chakra. So you can attack that with red or black. So garnet, gemstone, rubies, red agate, hematite, and then all of your black stones. So obsidian, onyx, tourmaline, any of those are really good for helping ground your energy and root back down. Or like if you're having a panic attack and you want to ground your energy, those are the gemstones you could use. Hibiscus brews red when you brew it in a tea. Red peppers, apples, strawberries, berries, all of those, blackberries, even blueberries technically. Any of those, but then root vegetables too. So if you want to root down and you want to ground your energy, eat potatoes. That is my trick. There's a witchy hack for you. When I feel ungrounded in my body, I will literally make mashed potatoes or I will eat a baked potato or something like that. But any kind of root vegetable, carrots, turnips, radishes, onions, anything that grows under the ground, will help you root back down into the earth and back down into your power. So if you're feeling stressed or scattered and you need that, potatoes are my go-to. Yeah, and then I went over, so herbs would be like hibiscus, rose, black pepper works really well for grounding. Garlic, again, works really well for grounding. And then I'm trying to think of these are where I write notes, you guys, but then I'm like, I've been doing this for so long, I can just riff it. And then no, I already did gemstones too. I know I was doing more herbs. I would say stick with, especially if you have stomach issues, I would stick with like peppermint, lemongrass, ginger, things like that to kind of bring you back down. All right. All right, if your anxiety centers more in your lung area and you've got those I call them high panic attacks, where you can't breathe, then that is your heart chakra. That color is green. You can also use pink for it as well, okay? So green is that color. Now, the energies associated with your heart chakra or the underlying triggers that could be at play that are causing these emotional panic attacks or these high panic attacks, compassion, like self-compassion, you're not giving yourself a break, forgiveness of yourself or others. There might be some emotional trauma living under there that you need to kind of bring out. And so you can use the color green. So any kind of green gemstones, aventurine, jade, amazonite is extremely calming and it's green. You can even use rose quartz, which I think a lot of witches have. We have just basic like amethyst, rose quartz. Rose quartz is a great one for the heart chakra as well. Herbs include roses, holy basil. You can also do hibiscus for that higher one too. Motherwort is another really good one for the heart chakra. But anything that's going to help you with that emotional trauma, or that compassion, that forgiveness, that tapping into your emotional state. Maybe you're denying yourself emotions as well, which I didn't mention, because I will mention it in a little while with Muggle helpers, or non-magical helpers, but somatic exercises. So if you have emotional trauma, that can also live in your hips, which is where your body just stores that trauma. So when anything emotional happens, it's almost like a snapshot is taken. Your body takes a snapshot and then puts all those little snapshots in your hips. So if you have hip issues, lower back issues, you might have some trauma and some emotional shit that you need to purge out of your hips. And that's actually what I've been doing for the better part of a year, but I'll get to that when we get down there. All right, so if we are talking about depression, what worked for me, because again, I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, what worked for me was gratitude. So I started out at night before I went to bed. I thought about all the things I was thankful for during that day. And because I was depressed, I could only think of one thing, and that was the fact that I had eaten a cheeseburger that night. So I was grateful for that cheeseburger, for the nourishment it gave my body, because that was literally the only thing I'd eaten that day. And that was how I went to bed. And so the next day, my brain found two things. So my son had told a really funny joke, and I had had 2 cheeseburgers that day. So what you're doing with depression is you are rewiring your brain to see the positive around you, because depression creates like a cloud around you, or like a filter that you can't see through. You can't see how fucking amazing you are. You can't see how great your life is, or your children are, or your job, or you just cannot find joy in anything. So you have to clear up that cloud or that filter, and concentrating on mindfulness, being present in the moment. So if you're sitting there right at this moment, for example, you're sitting here and you're like, you know what, this is going well. I really like this episode. Hopefully that's what you're thinking. But you're like, you know what, I don't feel pain at the moment. I'm really content. It's just bringing your mind back to the present moment and realizing in this moment, I am not in fight or flight. In this moment, I'm good. In this moment, I'm good. And once you start to recognize those and you start to create the wiring in your brain for those moments, then your brain seeks out those connections more. So that's when you start to see things around you that you didn't see before. The sky looks a little bit bluer, or maybe your feet hurt a little bit less after you get off of work. Your brain starts to rewire itself, or you are rewiring your brain to start to see the positive that already exists around you. So that's how I started to rewire my depression and my brain from a depressive state. Was I started to focus on the things during my day. At the end of the day, I would focus on the good things that happened that day. And the next day, my brain saw more. And the next day, my brain saw more. And that's what you have to do, is create new neural pathways within your brain, okay? A solar plexus issue is also at hand with depression, because you are not seeing your amazingness. So that is your personal power. You're not seeing how fucking awesome you are. You are not seeing how great things are. You're not seeing that. So it doesn't hurt to work on your solar plexus while working on, depression through therapy or medication or whatever. Okay. Another thing that can help is citrus scents or foods are very uplifting. They're mood enhancers. So orange, lemon, lime, grapefruit, all of that, just either breathing the scent if you wanted to do like aromatherapy, or have candles in those scents, or eating them. Those are mood elevators, so they can enhance your mood and help you along with it, like along with the therapy or whatever else you're doing to treat your depression. Any kind of sunny colored gemstones. So again, we're looking at yellows, oranges, citrine, jade, well, yeah, yellow jade, I guess, carnelian, fire agate, anything like that. I already said carnelian and citrine. Those are my two go-tos if you can't tell. Yellow calcite, orange calcite, any of those. And then getting out in the sun. Yeah, the sun, the sun you get in the sun, I think it's for like 10 minutes. They tell you now to do it in the morning, like as soon after you wake up as possible. Try to get 5 to 10 minutes of sun on your face. It helps with your circadian rhythm. So then it helps you sleep at night. But just getting out in the sun helps with vitamin D, which is a mood enhancer, and all of that good stuff. So just getting out in the sun can help. And of course, definitely head to a doctor to check your levels, to maybe get put on meds, go into therapy if you have depression. Like these are all things you can do to help you on a physical level or a mental level. Okay. So general stress helpers, especially when your mental health state becomes fried or when things just become too much. I love your gemstones for this because you can hold them, you can rub them, you can meditate with them, you can put them under your pillow to sleep. For stress relief, gemstones and herbs are my go-to. So amethyst is one of my favorite for stress relief. Lepidolite is also a great one. Fluorite is one of my favorites. If you want to work with colors, so either wearing colors or painting a room in a color, honestly, it just depends on how far you want to take it. Light blue is extremely calming and healing, and so is mint green, especially if you know that you have some emotional issues that you need to work through and you want to work through. Mint green is a great color for that, which is why Amazonite is such a great stone for emotional healing, because it is that mint green color. As far as herbs that can help with stress, there's lavender, chamomile, and then ashwagandha and St. John's wort. But I do know if you are on antidepressants, you cannot take St. John's wort. So this is why, another disclaimer, I'm not a certified herbalist. So if you want to get into an herbal treatment for your anxiety, depression, any of that, please consult with your doctor first, especially if you're already on meds for that. And you might even want to find, it depends on your doctor. A lot of doctors are like, no, go the pharmaceutical route. And if you're like, no, I really don't want to, then you're going to need to find a doctor of naturopathy in order to help you, or even a Chinese herbalist, in order to help you go the herbal route with something. Okay. If you are an empath, and I definitely want to throw that in here, an empath is someone who takes on other people's shit, their emotions, their anxieties, all of that. You can feel it yourself. Okay. And if we're witches, I'm going to talk to you about empaths, because a lot of witches are empaths. We're just more open energetically. And so therefore, sometimes we can take on other people's energy. All right. Black tourmaline is one of the best gemstones for that. So I highly recommend wearing a piece of black tourmaline or carrying one with you on a regular basis to help block other people's unwanted energy from you, helping block it, but so that you don't absorb it. Grounding or earthing is extremely important. I highly recommend, even if you're not an empath, another thing you can do to ground your energy down, especially if you are stressed or if you are having a panic attack or a moment, or you feel a panic attack coming on, is putting your hands or the soles of your feet directly onto the earth. There is an actual electromagnetic transfer shift that occurs in your body. It has something to do with your electrons. I'm not even kidding you. So it's scientifically backed that putting your hands or the soles of your feet directly onto the earth and just setting them there for a few will actually physically calm your body down. But if you want to take it one step further as a witch or as a spiritual, energetic person, you can visualize the stress, the icky, the negative energy, the shit flowing out of your hands into the earth. And you know that Mother Earth is going to heal it and, absorb it and heal it. And then you can, if you want to visualize, positive, cleansed, grounding energy flowing back into you from Mother Earth. So if you wanted to almost visualize like the energy going out of your dominant hand, the one you write with, the negative energy, the funk, the stress going out of your dominant hand into the earth. And then with your other hand, you're visualizing that cleansed, grounded energy coming in your other hand into your body. And you have this like cleansing loop going. Okay. What else do I have? Oh, some cleansing showers. I always double duty my showers. So while I'm cleaning myself in the morning, I'm visualizing negative energy, going off of me down the drain. I'm visualizing becoming grounded, just being cleansed. So you can double duty things. But if you want to actually use any kind of herbs, rosemary, sage, cedar, and salt, really good ones for cleansing. Pepper is good for protection too. So even if you're just salting and peppering your dinner for the night, you can just visualize, okay, the salt's going to cleanse, the pepper's going to help me protect my energy. Okay. Moon phases for mental health. Anytime you want to tackle anything, set your intention at the new moon. Okay. So if you're like, all right, this month I'm going to work on the mind, body, soul connection. Okay. Set that intention at the new moon. All right. Any kind of intention, whether it's energetic, whether it's spiritual, magical, whether you just need a boost of income, whether you need a new job, whether you need to find the love of your life, whatever it is, set the intention at the new moon. Okay. The waxing moon. So when we're going from new moon to full moon, and new moon is when it looks like there's no moon in the sky. We're going from new moon to full moon. The phase in between is the waxing moon. Okay. That's when you're going to be attracting things to you. So you're going to be, if you want to work on building your self-esteem, building your confidence, helping you step into your power. You want to attract happiness. You want to attract positive moments. You want to attract a calm center. Okay. This is the waxing moon phase. This is when you're going to draw things to you. So that's when you can do spells and rituals for any of that. All right. Then we're at the full moon. I do not teach to release what no longer serves you at the full moon. I think that is so. I teach personally at the full moon, you give your gratitude. You are grateful for this and this and this that has already happened in the last 2 weeks. You also muster up that energy that's in you and you put it towards your intention. You're like, all right, I'm going to full blast this self-esteem spell that I cast. Okay. I'm going to fully recommit myself to reconnecting my mind, my body, my soul, whatever it is that you want to do. You want to add a burst of energy to it at the full moon, and you want to give your thanks for the progress you've made so far. Then during the waning moon, which is after the full moon, a full day, a few days after that until the next new moon, that's when you're going to banish and let go of what no longer serves you. So you can get rid of bad habits. You can banish anxiety, banish your fears, banish your depression, just get it away from you. But like, of course, it's not going to be like a light switch that happens. Like one day you just wake up and you don't have anxiety anymore. But having that energetic shedding of it, like I release anxiety, I release my fears, I release the blocks that are keeping me from being happy, I release the depression from my system. These are the types of things you would do during the waning moon. If those are the types of spells or anything that you want to cast to not accentuate, what's the word, to like coincide or to support the physical and workings that the physical things, like if you've gone on a new med or if you're journaling, that is another amazing practice, which should have gone down into the next section, but it looks like I forgot it. So this would be any type of magic you want to cast that supports the things you're already doing actively in your life for these goals. Okay. So just to end today, some non-magical helpers for your mental health, general positive mental health. Okay. Hydrate. I know I am the worst at this, you guys. I am the worst. Okay. And I live in Arizona where it is currently 110 and I still can't seem to finish a freaking bottle of water. I even have one sitting right next to me. And as the people on YouTube can now see, I have not taken a single sip of it the entire time I've been recording this. my metal bottle of water. Yeah. Anyway, hydrate. I promise you it helps a lot. Limit your doom scrolling. Yeah. When you get into bed at night, put your phone down. Put it down. Don't get on Instagram. Don't get on TikTok. Don't get on Facebook. It's not going to help your mental health unless somehow you have managed to masterfully curate your feed into only cat videos and that's cat videos, dog videos, sloth videos, whatever you want to watch that makes you happy, your favorite comedians, whatever. Otherwise, limit your doom scrolling, seriously, because it causes you to compare yourself to other people. Then you see all the shit in the world, you read the horrible comments, and you just give up hope that humanity will ever fix itself. Yeah, so that's why it's called doom scrolling. Just don't do it. I promise you, pick up a book, read a book, listen to your favorite podcast, listen to an audiobook, listen to those people that read you bedtime stories for adults. Those are great. All right, connect with nature more. Again, it has scientific value behind it as to it helps you reduce stress levels. It's fucking amazing. Seriously, connect with nature more. Get out in the sun. I cannot stress that enough either. It scientifically, again, prove, I think it's the production of vitamin D actually is a mood enhancer. So yeah. Limit your stimulants. I know. This is all shit you've heard before. I know. And you're like, oh, Morgan, not you too. This does not mean necessarily give up coffee, okay? I will tell you all, I switched very recently to mushroom coffee. It is still coffee. It has coffee and it has instant coffee in it, but it also has mushrooms in it. I don't taste a difference. My husband does because he hates mushrooms. He will not even know. But for me, so mushrooms have all kinds of really good things in them that will eventually, as they build up in your system, they help with mood enhancement. They help you process stress. They help you keep a lower stress level. So like lion's mane helps you with focus. I am a huge mushroom person. And I am just talking, you can buy this stuff off Amazon. I'm not talking like psychedelic shrooms. I am talking just lion's mane and cordyceps. But you can buy mushroom coffee. It has half the amount of caffeine because it has half the amount of coffee in it, but it has the same amount of focus and brain power to it. And it really does. I switched over a few years ago, but now I almost exclusively drink mushroom coffee. It's much easier on the stomach too. But I definitely don't have that spike and then crash of energy drinking mushroom coffee. So just think about it. Your routines. These are some things that can really make or break your day sometimes. So if you can really establish a morning routine and an evening routine, your morning routine as you go through it will prepare you mentally for the day so that you're not stressed out, so that you're not stuck in fight or flight, so that you can process things. And your evening time routine, if you start to really develop one, then as you start your nighttime routine, your body naturally starts to calm down. Again, it's all about rewiring the brain. Mental health issues stem from neurological issues, okay? So the more that you can rewire your brain and get yourself back on an even keel and regulate your nervous system, the better your mental health state will be on a regular basis. All right. So morning routines and nighttime routines help rewire your brain. When you start your morning routine, it helps you build your day. You're like, oh, hell yeah, I'm here. I'm going to tackle this day. And then as you start your nighttime routine, your body literally starts to calm down. It's like, oh, it's like a trigger for your brain. You're like, oh, I'm going to bed. I need to calm down. Let's stop producing this. Let's stop producing adrenaline. Let's start producing some nighttime shit. She's trying to go to bed. Let's work with her. Okay. Limit your news. I fucking hate the news. The zombie apocalypse could start right now and I would have no clue. None. I don't watch the news. I don't pay attention. I think that especially since COVID, we have all been addicted to the news, but it is the first thing that causes fatigue and mental health issues is watching the news all the time because of the bullshit that they're just feeding you all the time. And I'm not even talking, this news channel versus that news. They all have slants now, every single one of them, and they will only tell you the information that they want you to know. based on what fear they are trying to instill in you. So just don't watch the news. If something happens, you'll find out about it eventually, you know? Move your body. Yeah. There's so many people in the world. I'm just going to little quick soapbox here. So many people in the world that have so many issues, like they're depressed and they have physical issues, and mentally they're not doing great, emotionally they're not doing great, they have all of these issues, and then you ask them, well, when's the last time you exercised? When's the last time you fueled your body with real food, not fast food? When's the last time you put your phone down? When's the last time you picked up a book or tried to meditate or anything? And the answer is none. I don't know. I don't know when the last time was. These things really do affect your whole being. I promise you they do. Eating your body, eating whole foods, eating your body. Oh my God, you guys. Eating whole foods, fueling your body healthily. It really does matter the shit you put in your body. It really does matter stretching and moving your body and getting more than 2,000 steps a day. These things really do affect your mental health. I 100% promise you that. And if you started taking care of your physical body, you will see your mental health improve. I can promise you that. That is a guarantee. Okay. And then last but not least, somatic exercises. So these are your gentle exercises you can do sitting on your couch. In fact, I have talked about her before, the Workout Witch on Instagram. I purchased her 3 programs. So it was hips, neck, and shoulders. I started it almost a year ago. It changed my life. And I still do it to this day, especially it helped me reduce cortisol levels in my body. It helped me remember some past trauma shit so I could bring it up with my therapist. It unlocked memories, it unlocked emotional states for me. It just overall, somatic exercises have absolutely improved my life. And you can look them up on YouTube, somatic, SOMATIC. There are some great free ones. Look for hip openers if you really want to address emotional issues and like emotional trauma, things like that. But I highly recommend the Workout Witch. I think she's got a 5 level 1, 2 now. I don't know what the other 2, but I purchased the 3 when it was like hips, neck, and shoulders, because this is where I carry all of my stress in my shoulders and my neck. And then all of my emotional issues were held in my hips, just like everybody else. But they're gentle. They can be done in bed. And for me, I mean, I saw results within the first 2 to 3 weeks of just lower stress levels, learning how to handle stress better. So I highly recommend them, and along with everything else that you're already doing. So that's what I have for you all today. That is the end of I have no idea how long this is either, because like I normally record on a little thing that gives me a timer. And now that I'm recording video, I feel like this is a very long episode. I feel like it is, but I love talking about mental health. I really do. I have no qualms about telling people how crazy I used to be and still am and what has helped me on my journey. So I do love talking about it. And I hope that there were some witchcraft. I mean, I talked more about just like things you could use in witchcraft, like your gemstones, your herbs, your things like that. But I still made that correlation between your spirituality and your mental health and kind of tackling it from multiple ways. This month I do have the coven, but I want to talk to you all just real quick about our box this month. So we're selling a box called our Ink Goddess Creations box. The theme for the month of July, well, the theme for the month of August, because the boxes don't ship until August 5th, but we're selling it in the month of July. The theme is fuck it, because that's the energy it has. I think we've all reached a point, especially recently, where we're like, we don't know what to do. And instead of increasing your anxiety and constantly worrying about it and constantly wondering like what's going to happen next, just say fuck it and release it and let it go. It changed my life. It's what helped me start to tackle my anxiety. And that is why I created this box. So this box has items in it that we created based on my mental health journey, based on my journey as a witch of saying fuck it and releasing stuff. That's what's inside this box. So you can head to inkedgoddesscreations.com. You'll see up in the top IGC boxes, or you'll see a big black banner on the front that says fuck it. Click on that. You'll see some sneak peeks for this month of some really fun things that are included in the box. And the box is selling fast, so it'll be open. Ordering will be open through August 1st or until we sell out, whichever one happens first. So I definitely think you should check that out. And if you want to hit me up on Instagram, I am at Inked Goddess Creations. And let me know what you thought of this episode. Let me know if it helped you. Let me know what some of your witchy mental health helpers are. And for those of you on YouTube, I hope this was fun for you to get to actually watch me. Let me know, leave me comments. Because right now this is an experiment. I don't know how long, I don't know if I'll be like, this was cool or this was a train wreck. I'm not sure which one it'll be. So let me know if on YouTube, if this was helpful for you, honestly. So yeah, I want to thank you all for being here, for giving me a platform to spread my witchy knowledge, to tell you about all my mental health issues. And just to give me a platform to share the things that have helped me, and hopefully I can help you too. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.